Please subscribe and don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified whenever we upload a new video.
Welcome back. Here with Halftime Report. The fraudulent transactions that PNB has disclosed about, well, that case continues to get murkier and murkier. Where is Nirav Modi? That remains the biggest question. The last he was seen was at Davos. Since then, where Nirav Modi is, well, that's exactly what my colleague in CNN News 18, Ashish Mehrishi, is speaking about. And he joins in now. Ashish, what more can you tell us about, if he returned to India from Davos, where he is right now? What details do you have?
Well, in fact, very surprising because we've already seen the list getting bigger and bigger. We've already seen Malia run away, Lalit Modi run away, Deepak Talwar run away. We've got Sanjay Bhandari run away. So people who have actually cheated the government and the banks, they just run away from this country. Now, very surprising who's tipping them off, because a coercive action was coming against Nirav Modi, and he realized it. So somebody in the system tipped him off, and that is the reason why he has run away. Though the enforcement directorate is doing a search operation as of now. They're going raiding at least 3 locations in Surat, 5 in Mumbai, and 2 in Delhi. But then all they're going to get is some documents. They may be attaching some assets as well in days to come if Nirav Modi does not appear before enforcement directorate. But surprisingly, he's on the run. He's just fled the country.
So you're saying that before the FIR was filed, he had already left India?
Well, in fact, that is right, absolutely right, because he realized that, his fraud has been caught by the Punjab National Bank. The investigation within the Punjab National Bank was also happening on how fake LOUs were issued and who is the man responsible. Now, what we are learning is that Gokul Nath Shetty is the man who DGM in Punjab National Bank who actually compromised with Nirav Modi, the entire core banking system, and ultimately LOUs were issued, which was fake and fraudulent, to different banks, and those banks, at least 6 banks, have issued loan to Nirav Modi's companies, which are in various domains, whether it is India or abroad. But ultimately, that money has gone to Nirav Modi. And finally, yes, this man has run away. Who's going to pay back this money? That is still to be seen.
Okay, all right. Thanks so much for stopping by, Ashish, and in fact giving us all those details. You've got a busy day. We'll keep touching base with you, and you keep updating us on what's going on. Well, we have some news coming in from the wires, and the Transport Minister has said the finalized scrapping policy for vehicles over 15 years old. I think Ashok Leyland, that should be one stock that you should be looking at. A bit of an uptake is what we're seeing on that one. So that stock, in fact, spiking up as we speak, moving higher. It should be one of the beneficiaries if in fact this policy has been finalized, that's scrapping of vehicles over 15 years, and that explains why in fact the stock is moving mildly higher. But as promised, let's get chatting with the management of Bussaco Industries. Remember, they posted a rather good quarter. We did see that in fact these numbers look quite good. The profit number as well spiked up. Margins as well have improved. To understand what's going on there, we have Mr. Vamsi Krishna, the Joint Managing Director of the company, who joins in. Hi, Mr. Vamsi. Thanks so much, sir, for joining in. Well, the last time we spoke, you were talking about revenues of around 1,000 crores for FY18, and you're talking about profit number of around 50-55 crores approximately. Now, the revenue number, is it possible? And in terms of profit, you've already achieved that in the first 9 months itself. So what's the outlook there? You'll have to up your profit guidance.
Yeah. Hi, Nigel. Thank you for having me today. I think revenues will be looking at 1,000, as we said earlier. Maybe the profit will be looking at a slightly higher number, since we're already at about 50 now. Maybe a 60 plus number is what we are looking at.
All right. The other big factor that we were looking at, in the past is the way you wanted to grow your non-asbestos business. I think last year, if I'm not mistaken, it did roughly around 140 crores. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But where do you see that number going for the first 9 months? What kind of a number have you done? And for this year, what kind of a growth can we look at in terms of the non-asbestos business?
So non-asbestos, like I said before, we are really bullish about it. Last quarter, we got actually 30% growth compared to the previous. So that's going quite strong. This year, I think we'll be going and looking at about 170 crores from that business this year end.
Hi, Vamsi. Good afternoon. This plant of yours at Jajjar, Haryana, when is it likely to commence production?
So we are looking at end of March, beginning of April, sometime maybe mid-April. So between March end and April is what the date we are looking
So
at.
by FY19 end, what is the capacity utilization that you hope to reach?
See, right now we are at 90 plus with the current existing facilities. Maybe by the end of 2020, we'll be looking at 100% capacity utilization, including the third plant as well.
Okay, so what kind of revenues can come out of here? If you could help us out, Vamsi, what kind of numbers can we get out of here? And more importantly, what about market share? Give us some details on that front.
So with the new plant coming down, we'll be looking at about 30 to 35% capacity, installed capacity, all India. So we'll be the leaders in terms of manufacturing capacity. And in terms of sales as well, I think we are doing pretty well. We are stable and we are looking at a very aggressive growth rate. So I think going forward, we should be doing good. We should be seeing a good future for this. Maybe about 100 crores in revenues with the new plant coming up also with 100% capacity utilization.
And market share, you said you're at around 30%. Is that, did I get that right?
30%, yeah.
30%, okay.
Vamsi, what about this textile business? Over there, I'm just looking at the EBIT numbers. It's come down, right? I think, 25 odd percent. What's the plan over there? What is the revenue outlook or, what's your guidance in terms of volumes, targets, etc.? Any internal target that you have?
So spinning, actually, we took a big hit in terms of GST the whole of last year. It was quite tough for us. And I think now it's stabilizing. The whole textile industry for us is stabilizing. We did a 26% expansion recently. I think we'll be touching 100% capacity utilization in that also by the end of FY19. So that's what we are looking at. Maybe about 250 plus crores is what we should be looking at from textile revenues.
Okay, so GST blues are behind you is what you're trying to say.
Well, I mean, yeah, I think there are good days to look forward. Definitely Q4 will be a little bit way better than the previous quarters for textiles for sure.
All right, Vamsi, very quickly, if you could tell us, you've done a capacity expansion, but and this year has been a good year as well. So your debt, I think the last time we spoke was around 200 crores. With this capacity expansion, has the debt level gone up or is the cash flow taking care of that?
Yeah, the cash flow will be taking care of that. We'll be at 200 for this year as well. We did about 115 crores of capex through our internal accruals. This for the new investments that we've gone for.
So debt stands at around 200 crores itself?
Yes.
Okay, final question, Vamsi. I was just a little curious. This textiles business, it's your other business, your building products business is looking so good. Your market share has gone up, etc. Any plans of demerging this business? I mean, just getting this textiles business apart and keeping the building products business apart. Just a thought that came to my mind. Is that a possibility, or you want to keep it together?
Keep it together. Nothing as of now, because textiles has always been a good support for us throughout the years. Only because of the recent expansion that we've done, that is last year, and with the GST coming in at the same time, I think we are seeing a slightly uncomfortable situation, but I think that's behind us now. I think going forward, that should be concrete as well.
And as we speak, well, the Nifty is holding strong. The mid-cap index as quiet as can be, but a few stocks moving around. Well, ADF Foods, we just have to pull that stock up because from being up only around 2%, ADF Foods suddenly is up close to around 10%. I don't know what's going on there. And Prestige Estates as well as the other one that's spiking up on good volumes. But let's find out what's the trade on the Nifty. Ashwini Gujral as well as Rajat Bose, both of them are with us. Good day, gentlemen. Ashwini, well, we're holding at the similar levels for the last couple of hours. I mean, we saw a bit of a downtake, but at around 10,580. What's the trade there?
See, first, let's talk about the bank Nifty, because that's where the short covering seems to have started. And it's happening in Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, which is at the high point of the day, and also State Bank. So my sense is that the next 2 hours are going to be led by these three banks. So if, overall bank Nifty heads up another 50, 100 points, it's quite possible that even the Nifty goes up, maybe 25, 30 points. Don't expect mid caps to do major action, but I think the bank Nifty short covering should take up the Nifty as well as bank Nifty. Having said that, BPCL is a buy with a stop of 460, target of 485. HUL is a buy with a stop of 1340, target of 1385. And Bombay Dyeing is a buy with a stop of 274, target of 289.
All right, Rajat, good afternoon to you. What are the stock ideas you're looking at?
I have one stock in common with Ashwini, that is Bombay Dyeing. My stop loss is below 275.40 and targets are 282 and 285. And I have two sale calls. One is Capital First, sell with a stop above 698, target would be 680. Capital First looks weak to me. And Vale, which I hold personally in my investment portfolio, it's a intraday call, go short on Vale with a stop above 98.15 and target would be 94.60. I see metals might be holding, but index might actually go down in the next couple of hours.
A lot of earnings reactions. Rota India has delivered a steady set in Q3. The revenue growth has been stable. Forex gain has aided margin improvement in Q3. KK Singh, the CMD of Rota India, joins us in the studio with their earnings fine print. Mr. Singh, thanks very much for actually coming down here.
Thank you so much.
So I want to actually begin by talking about this margin improvement. With your restructuring of some of your debt that has taken place, how much more headroom do you have now to improve margins?
So the restructuring agreement has been done. I think we'll have to take all the approvals which are necessary, and that will be processed. I think by May we should be able to finish that. Once we have done all that, then almost 50% will be saving in our interest itself. So that will be like almost 300 crores per year will be a saving in our interest itself. And then the big thing is that we have options that in 1 year we can pay these bonds at about $213 million, which are more than $500+ million now. So that also gives us an opportunity to take them out in a year by doing various kind of things. And then there is another option, after 2 years also we can do something. So certainly we'll try our best to take the use of options.
All right, Mr. Singh, let's get the numbers very simple. Now, first, before we focus on your operational performance, let's focus on your debt number. What was the last recorded debt? Was it around 5,000 crores approximately?
Approximately about 6,000 crores.
6,000 crores. And your interest payment on a per annum basis is around 600 crores?
600 crores, yeah.
So you're telling me that now your interest cost will come down to 300 crores?
Yes, please.
300 crores, right? So that savings then will flow down to your profit number. Is that correct?
That's true.
So for FY19, sir, can you do a net profit? You've been doing around 150 crores. So can that number look like around 350, 400 crores
Absolutely,
at least? Is that a possibility, sir?
Absolutely possible on consolidated. This is the consolidated number which you are talking. So certainly possibility on consolidated number that will be almost 400 crores or so.
For FY19?
Yes, with the restructuring happening, that's what we are very much hoping should happen, because the agreement is in place, which was the fundamental thing. And now it's the approval.
So what are the other procedures that are remaining then? If if the agreement is in place, then what else should all our shareholders, all our viewers look forward to for it to get done and dusted? Because as you speak, the street is taking heart from that. The stock is recovered from the low point of the day. Tell us, sir.
So the point is that there are procedures which are various government approvals which we are taking, international government approvals which are taking. And then also there is a court procedure, because we have to ensure that the structuring which is done is acceptable to all 100% people. And then by doing the court procedure, we also get some tax benefits. So those things will finish. I think by May, middle May, before middle May, or by end of May latest, all that should be finished.
Okay. So that aside, sir, what's the plan in terms of revenue growth? Now, what can you guide us for in FY19? Because, for this quarter, it's flat. For 9 months, also barely any movement there. What's the plan to revive your top line?
The top line I had mentioned even in earlier interviews also here, that our focus is on the bottom line. We are cutting out all kind of work which have been low margin work like system integration, etc. We are more focused on digital transformation today. All the digital transformation major programs are being won by us. And that is because we have tremendous amount of IP and we are making good use of that IP. And that is the reason why we are doing that. And so we are doing that, and that is how our top line may remain flat, or it may be same, or a little bit up and down. But certainly our profits will improve drastically.
So focus is going to be on margin improvement.
Absolutely.
Rather than on top line growth.
Absolutely.
So these margins, I think we have it at around 33% approximately.
Yes.
That you can sustain those levels. You can improve from there.
In fact, we have for the whole year we have remained between 31-33%. And as we go forward, I'm sure that more and more IP related work will go. So it will become 34-35% or so.
Well, you know, Mr. Singh, there'll be two sections that are looking at what you have to say very, very closely. One is your employees.
Yes.
You know, because your employee cost has come down sharply. If you could explain that to us, that's point number one. The second part will be your shareholders, obviously.
Yes.
Now, dividend, I don't think you've paid in the last couple of years.
Yes, last 2 years. We
Right.
have,
So, you know, first on the employee cost, the second, can you pay some dividend? Because your shareholders are saying last couple of years we haven't received anything.
No,
but now you're saying the profit is going to look good. So can you pay them some dividend?
Sir,
Clarify to both of them, sir. They're both watching.
yes. So the point is that I'm very sure that with the restructuring done and all that finished, and with various things which are provided for, we will be in a much better position. And I think the shareholders always look for value increment. And the value increment will be there because of the inherent value which is coming into the company. The debt will be reduced almost by about $600 million as we go forward.
But they'll
in
get
next 1
dividend?
year. And then, of course, the dividend will be coming in, surely. I'm not saying dividend they will not get, they'll surely get dividend.
Okay.
And of
employee
course,
cost?
as far as employees are concerned, we are certainly doing our best for our existing employees. We have not been retrenching them. We have been reskilling them, and we are now more and more in digital transformation.
Okay.
So certainly we are doing our best for everybody.
Mr. Singh, just to sidestep from your earnings for a second, we're understanding now that investigative agencies have reached the PNB headquarters in New Delhi and that they're quizzing the top management. You know, we should try and actually get some more clarity from the PNB management itself. There was also a separate piece of news coming in from CNN News 18 that Nirav Modi has been traced to Switzerland.
Did he come back?
So that, yeah, his travel details, I mean, I'm not privy to it, but as of now, it appears that he's in Switzerland. And of course, it was known that he's not in India at the moment. But this is important. Just earlier this morning, there was an ED raid at a lot of his properties in Mumbai, Surat, etc. Right. And now, of course, the investigative agency is taking it to the PNB headquarters as well.
Okay.
But Mr. Singh, coming back to your numbers, sir, what about the defense project? I think earlier you had spoken about a project without naming it, a prestigious, time-bound project. What's the movement over there?
The movement is good. Actually, the work is going on. A lot of visits we get from the army for that to guide us as to what exactly are the specifications.
So what is the quantum of...
So that is overall is a $10+ billion project. Okay. And that is being
Which
done...
is entirely your share?
No. We are doing it with BEL as the major partner. So we are working the software into it. So once the full project is approved, the prototype is approved, thereafter the orders will roll in. That order rolling in will be phased over a period of 5 or 6 years. So that is the way it is. And I think over that period, we would be having revenue of more than 15,000 crores out of that over 5, 6, 7 years of that.
Superb. All right, Mr. Singh, thanks so much, sir, for coming down to our studio. The key takeaway really is that you're going to do 400 crores of profit in the next year. Debt is going to come down drastically, and maybe you'll pay dividend as well going ahead. Thanks so much, sir, for joining in and giving us these details. By the way, we need to focus on the markets. The markets have moved to the high point of the day. All of a sudden, the Nifty Bank, that spiked up. You know, just take a look at ICICI Bank. That's really come into form. The Nifty is up 115 points. We have crossed the 10,600 odd mark. Just keep an eye out on the Nifty. We are moving higher. You know, Sumaira, I remember in 2009-10, if I'm not mistaken, at that point of time, this entire Satyam scam broke out. And what we saw was that more amount of money, whatever money was there, Infosys and TCS, both of them did well post the announcement of that. Now with PNB, you know, there's a lot of confusion as to what's going to happen there. But it seems some of these banking stocks, the other ones, like an ICICI Bank, for example, that's spiking up as we speak. But it's not just ICICI Bank. ONGC, Hindalco, HCL Tech, all these stocks are doing well. And suddenly, the last 10-15 minutes have been very, very good. Markets holding with a century today, so that's good news. Mid-cap index flattish, Bank Nifty doing well. But for the time being, let's shift focus to the commodity space. Manisha is with us. She normally brings us good news. Manisha, what do you have for us today?
Oh, well, this is about metals really, and all of them have been trading on the higher side. The last 24 hours actually have done quite well for this sector. If you look at this week itself, you have the copper prices up by nearly 6.5%. It has been on the back of the weak US dollar, the strong global growth prospects, because all the numbers that you have seen come in from China, Germany last evening, all of that have been on the positive side as well. And not just copper, if you look at the nickel prices, they are trading near their highest since 2015. You have the zinc prices, which were trading at highest in last 10 years as well. And most of these metals actually are up between 3 to 7% on the higher side. So a great week going. We still have one more trading day left. The only thing is that you have the Chinese participation out of the markets, and that really tells you that on lower volumes, you are looking at exaggerated moves expected into this space as well. Having said that, it is also about the US consumer data in the evening. You have the jobless numbers and the industrial production data as well coming in from US today. And if that gives any support, you will see further gains coming in for these prices. In the meanwhile, the LME as an index, the Nifty metal, all of that really is holding quite in the positive. Tapan Patel of LKP Securities now joins us to talk more about that. Tapan, hi. What is your sense on what's happening in the metals as a space? And at these current levels, where do you see the fundamentals holding, and any bias, any favorites that you are picking up in this sector?
Yeah, hi Manisha, good afternoon. Yes, I think the metals will be in uptrend for a while after the short recovery. So we can expect prices to trade higher after the short covering ahead of China holiday. And among the metals, I think nickel will be a good bet for the short-term buying because of we can see some development from Philippines regarding the supply issues. So nickel will be a buying side, so buying around 890 is eligible for nickel with a stop loss below 880, and for the target near 920 is expectable level to go ahead.
Tapan, also, how are you looking at the zinc prices? Because we saw 3% gains overnight. It's trading quite flat in the Indian markets right now. But then again, yet another 10-year high is what we saw in the New York session yesterday. How do you look at the fundamentals there? Or the fact that we've seen the prices double in the last couple of years, does that deter your will to go long on this one?
Yeah, I think the overall fundamental in zinc are positive for the longer term. So among all base metals, we can see some supply deficit issues coming in the current year. So I think zinc will be in the longer term with a target of near 240, 245, and buying around 226, 225 is eligible for the longer term.
Okay, all right, Tapan and Manisha, thanks so much for joining in and giving us those details. Well, on that note, we'll have to wrap up on Halftime Report.